Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 49th line. Today, I'm going to be reacting to a video of Vasi Kapilos and conservative MP Andrew Scheer talking on CTV News about the pipeline motion. This is a conversation that took place before the vote actually happened. We all know the outcome of that vote, unfortunately. But yeah, this is pretty eye-opening as to why they put this motion into place. And yeah, let's just jump right into it.
House Leader Andrew Scheer, who is live with us now from the House of Commons. Hi, Mr. Scheer. Good to see you again. Thank you very much for making the time.
Can't hear you.
Okay, let me just make sure I can hear you. Can I hear you now? Sorry.
I can hear you fine. I don't know if you can hear me, but
now
okay.
I've got you. My apologies. My apologies. Let me just start off on the amendments today, because when we spoke last night, it was just a straight up and down, do you support the construction of an additional pipeline? Today, Mr. Poilievre in the morning announced some additional language from the MOU around carbon capture, for example, Indigenous ownership, working with BC. It didn't include the industrial price on carbon. If you were going to include other stuff, why not that?
Well, Conservatives have always been opposed to carbon taxes, but really this vote is about the essence of it. You know, the point of the MOU, the point of Mark Carney flying out to Alberta and going through the signing ceremony was to get to a pipeline. It wasn't really for anything else. And what we're hoping to do is get Liberals on the record here in Ottawa. Do they support this deal that their own Prime Minister signed? When we think about what it's going to take to get a pipeline built to the Pacific Ocean, this should be the easiest part of it. And the fact that Mark Carney can't even get his...
Right there. Did you hear that? This should be the easiest part of it. Let that sink in.
His own caucus on board tells us that he's not going to be able to succeed on this. How is he ever going to navigate through all the various consultations, meetings with different provincial premiers, if he can't even come to Ottawa and get the very MPs who sit in his caucus to sign on to the deal that he signed himself?
But is there, why doesn't the other party to that agreement, in the Premier Danielle Smith, have the same concerns that you're raising right now? Like, why isn't she saying, I'm worried about this actually happening? She's the one that signed it. She's also a conservative. She's been very critical of federal Liberals in the past for a lack of commitment to additional pipeline export capacity. She isn't saying what you're saying.
Well, look, I mean, I'm not going to speak for the Premier of Alberta. I suppose that, if Mark Carney wants to compare his record to Justin Trudeau's record and offer even a glimmer of hope to the province of Alberta, the government of Alberta is going to make those kinds of decisions. What the Conservatives are offering the people of Alberta and all Canadians is a yes. We support a pipeline to the Pacific Coast. We want Canada to sell more of our energy to Asian countries, getting off that U.S. dependence. And Vashi, when other countries around the world are buying Canadian exports, that means that they do that in Canadian dollars. That's going to boost the purchasing price of the Canadian dollar. It's going to benefit every Canadian who has to buy things in the grocery store or in other stores. This is a win-win all around. And what Conservatives would do is we would get that path to the Pacific Ocean, getting Western Canadian natural resources to market without an industrial carbon tax, without all these new hoops and hurdles that's forcing Alberta to navigate through even more red tape to get to a yes. So that's the contrast here. But the point of the motion here tonight is this motion doesn't contradict anything in the MOU. It doesn't ask Liberals to denounce any part of the MOU. We're just trying to find out is, can Mark Carney find consensus even in his own caucus to support a pipeline? And as of 5:10 this evening, the answer to that is no.
Let that sink in. Scheer's not asking them to solve the climate change or redesign the tax code. He's asking the Liberal caucus to vote in favor of something their own leader just put his signature on with Danielle Smith. And they can't do it, or they won't do it, I should say. Think about what this signals to the world. If Mark Carney can't command his own team in Ottawa to sign off on this deal, then what does it say about his ability to lead? This isn't just a political disagreement. It's a fundamental failure of his leadership. Because it shows that the party is ideologically ungovernable on this issue. They will never support a pipeline.
But why does he need that consensus in order to support the pipeline? Like in the MOU, it expressly says that he will. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of your party, has taken views on a wide variety of subjects that not all your MPs agree on. Why is that consensus necessary?
Well, because I believe what Canadians are watching unfold is this. Mark Carney does not believe in developing more oil and gas. He wrote that in his book, and I know you've at least I know you're familiar with that. He had.
Anyone hasn't read it yet, you should read Mark Carney's book of values. It explains all this. He does not want pipelines. He doesn't want energy to be used or Canada's resources to be used. It's all there in his book. Go have a read.
Has specifically written chapter and verse. He's gone on, he's gone on TV shows and he's talked about the need to leave our oil and gas in the ground. But he's got a problem because Canadians want it. So what?
Here's my take. Mark Carney is running a confidence game. He's playing two audiences at the same time. To Albertans and the pragmatic voters, he's the reasonable guy in the suit, signing deals and talking about responsibility and development. But to his base, the leave it in the ground ideology that the Liberals have, that's what he focuses on with them. Tells them that, yeah, we're definitely not going to get a pipeline. We're just hyping up the people of Canada just to keep them on our side. But then we'll blame the Conservatives for not adding a carbon tax or carbon neutral part in the motion. Like, it's all just straight up bullcrap, if you ask me. They never wanted this to happen. They signed that paper with Danielle Smith, knowing that when it comes down to it in the House of Commons, they can blame it on the Conservatives for not putting a proper motion forward with all the red tape that they want, because it's not realistic. You can't have that much red tape for a pipeline. Pipelines, yes, they're going to use a lot of carbon, but they're also going to make you a lot of money. All right.
What he's doing is he's telling Canadians right now, he said, some date far into the future, 2027, maybe 2029, there's a possibility of a pipeline. And he's coming back to Ottawa and he's telling all the people who share his radical ideology, his leave it in the ground, praise of carbon taxes team here in Ottawa, that don't worry, it'll never happen. And that's what we're trying to draw out here, to show Canadians, like, if the Liberal caucus had confidence in the MOU that Mark Carney signed himself, this should be a no-brainer. This should have been a Tuesday morning announcement where they said, of course we're going to vote in favor of this. Mark Carney just signed on to it. But the fact that they're so twisted on this, the fact it took them days and days to arrive at a decision, tells you that they're not in support of this. And the reason why this is important is because there are elements in this MOU that will require changes to legislation. And if Mark Carney can't get his own team on board, what does that say about what would be required to actually get it passed? And when we think about all the hurdles that he's, Indigenous consultation is difficult. It's important, but it's difficult. Working with provinces is difficult, but it's important. This should be the easiest part of the entire approval process, getting Liberals to agree with their own Liberal leaders' MOU, and Mark Carney can't get that done.
Nope.
But if I think back to the rationale that your party has provided for calling for, let's say, a lot of the environmental regulations to be lifted, for calling, for various processes to be superseded, it's all been about, fostering an environment where the private sector wants to invest more, where the uncertainty that you allege was created under the previous prime minister is removed. What does making it a political football, what purpose does that serve in that vein? Like, are you not sending a signal by trying to expose what you would characterize as a very divided caucus, like cast doubt on this MOU? Are you not doing exactly what you said Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did?
Well, first of all, I don't believe it's fair to say we're alleging that there was uncertainty in investment in the natural resource sector. Every single major Canadian pipeline project was either vetoed or canceled or abandoned, and those Canadian energy companies took those dollars and invested in the United States to the point where the Liberal government had to buy a pipeline, something that never happened in previous Conservative or even previous Liberal governments. And what this motion was all about was to show that consensus here in Ottawa that, yes, Conservatives have been in favor of pipelines, we've been in favor of exporting more of our natural resources, and now it's the Liberals that are blocking that. The only party that has turned this into a political football is the Liberal Party. We took the words right out of the MOU. We literally lifted it, copied and pasted it, because we wanted Liberals to be able to
selectively.
We wanted Liberals to be able to vote in favor of this.
This is where the media framing often misses the mark. Vassy asked a good question, but it buys into the Liberal narrative way too much. That talking about division is the same as creating the division. Scheer's response was perfect, in my opinion. And also, let me add this. The political football that they're talking about isn't the Conservative motion. The football is the hope of millions of Canadians in the energy sector and the communities that they support. For a decade, the Liberals have been punting that ball down the field, the hope down the field. Maybe this one will work. It's just a long process. Everything has to be right. Just wait. We'll get the job done. All Scheer did, and Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, all they did was do a simple handoff. Your guy has the ball. Just run with it down the field. And the entire Liberal team is standing in a huddle arguing about whether they even want to score. They're the ones fumbling. They're the ones creating the uncertainty, not the guy pointing out that they can't hold on to the ball. It's just ridiculous that they don't see this and want to even draw comparisons to that.
Yeah, but respectfully, as I said, like you cherry-picked parts of the MOU and only decided to change that today, and still not to a fulsome degree.
No, I reject that premise, because there's not one single part of this motion that asks a Liberal to vote against another part. Again, why did Mark Carney go to Alberta? Why did he sit down beside Premier Danielle Smith to sign this MOU? It wasn't to get to a yes on anything other than a pipeline to the Pacific. So the point was, let's all agree on that. Liberals and Conservatives might have a difference of opinion on how to get there, on how to do that without, say, a massive hike in the carbon tax. But surely, after that MOU was signed, we can all agree that that was the goal. And we fully expected that the Liberals would vote in favor of this. Then they started raising opposition. They started raising objections based on carbon capture, based on Indigenous consultation and working with other provinces. So we said, okay, well, let's take that off the table for you. Let's put that into the motion. This was a good faith effort to show some kind of consensus here in Ottawa, to send that signal to the investment community that the two major parties in Canada support a pipeline to the Pacific, and the Liberals can't even deliver their part of it.
Mr. Scheer, with great respect, you think that you think Canadians will believe that you wanted to show consensus in good faith, that you did not want to expose divisions within the Liberals on an issue that has been a political winner for your party and now appears to be less so?
Just because the Liberals say something doesn't make it true, Vashi. You'll pardon me for taking Mark Carney at his word. When he signs the MOU and says that all Liberals support it, I believe it's totally fair to say, okay, well, let's have the House of Commons endorse that. The only party that has turned this into any kind of a as you say, a political football or a division are the Liberals. Every other party is very clear on where they stand. Don Davies and the NDP, extremely clear. They don't support pipelines. That's fine. They can take that message to the Canadian people. The Conservative Party, we've been very clear for the past 10 years and prior. We support our men and women in the energy sector. We see the benefit for all Canadians selling more of our natural resources around the world. It's only the Liberals that are twisting themselves up on this, and they're projecting. They're projecting onto the Conservative Party. They're trying to spin the media into saying that this is somehow something that
they always do.
The Conservatives are doing. We literally took Mark Carney at his word. We took his words on the page that he signed himself, and we're just asking the House of Commons to endorse that.
Okay, we'll look forward to the vote. Mr. Scheer, thank you so much for making the time.
All right, that is it. I want to just summarized. This was about accountability. The motion that they put forward was to show, hey, if you say that your whole caucus supported the MOU that you signed with Danielle Smith, then prove it. Let's get this signed in the House of Commons. That's exactly what they were trying to do. Sorry. That's not playing politics. That's called responsible governance. What does it say about Mark Carney that his own caucus is allergic to his own signature? It tells you that the Liberal Party hasn't changed at all. It's the same coalition of anti-resource urban activists and the virtue signaling career politicians, just with a new, more polished frontman. The suit is nicer, but the ideology is just as corrosive. Carney isn't leading his party. He's being held hostage by its most extreme elements before he even gets the keys to the office. It's ridiculous. So essentially, what did we just witness? Let me switch the camera here. So what did we just witness? We didn't just see a policy debate. We saw the unveiling of the central flaw in the Mark Carney project, a profound lack of authentic authority. He can't reconcile his City of London net zero at all costs background with the economic necessities of Canada. He can't bring his party with him on a core economic issue. And if he can't do that, on the easiest part, a simple vote of confidence, he will be completely powerless against the real obstacles. Andrew Scheer, Pierre Poilievre, and the Conservative Party successfully exposed that with this motion. He showed that the Conservative position is a clear yes for building, for exporting, the national prosperity. The Liberals' position is a muddled, self-contradictory mess, a party at war with itself, essentially, on Canada's economic interests. Let me know what you guys think. Is Mark Carney a pragmatic leader, or is he just a more articulate version of the same Liberal blockade? Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. If you want more unfiltered analysis on the political shaping of our country, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to the 49th line. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.